Welcome back to my next playthrough series. We're back to BattleLore 2nd Edition. This time I have included all of the expansion miniatures for this playthrough, so I'll give you an idea of the expansion characters. And so what I'm going to do for this video is I will run down the new expansion characters, show you the miniature, read you the descriptions of the cards. I'm not going to do anything with the base game characters. I won't show you any of those. And then we will, after this video, probably start right into the game turns. So this is kind of a setup introduction video. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to go over the setup procedures or anything. I've already done 2 playthroughs of BattleLore 2nd Edition on my channel. You can check those out. I go into more detail of setup and all of that stuff. I am going to show you the new characters that come with the expansion. And I guess what I'll do to start with right now is I will very quickly just flash up the page here. So I have the Hernfar Guardians, and so I will be playing with, well, these are repeat Citadel guards, but I'll be using Grayhaven Battle Mages, Citadel Lancers, Ironbound, and the Siege Golem. But I won't be using the crystals or barricades. They're not that complicated, but I won't be using them. Alright, so this is the Hernfar Guardians. I'm also using Warband of Scorn. And Blood Harvesters are repeats, but I'll be using Berserkers, Blood Sisters, Grotesque, and the Doombringer. And so let's go over those particular characters. Oh, and I will be playing from the perspective this time of the Uthuk, which is the red characters, playing against the Dakan, which are the human sort of characters in blue. So let's take a look at the blue characters first. And I'll flash you up the miniature, and then I will read the card off. So this is the miniature for the Citadel Lancers, and they are cavalry knight melee units. And again, if you're into painting and stuff, these are actually quite nicely detailed miniatures. So there is our Citadel Lancers. So we'll be using those. So let's take a look at the Citadel Lancers card in a little more detail. They have 3 movement, 3 attack dice. They will be rolling for attack, and 3 health, meaning there are 3 of the units in each squad, I guess we'll call them. So they're cavalry knight melee. They have the trample ability, and it says if the target unit is supported, cause 1 damage for each retreat ignored. So basically what it means is when you're attacking a unit and you roll the retreat symbol on the die, if the defender decides not to retreat, well, they can't retreat, then they're going to get damage for it instead because they just trample them. And if you roll the special symbol, you get the charge ability during your turn. If this unit was not adjacent to the target unit at the start of your melee move, cause 1 damage. So these guys are nasty when they come charging in. Pretty awesome. And my camera's dying, so right when we come back, we will continue looking at the Ironbound, which is another expansion character. Alright, fresh batteries. Sorry about that. Alright, let's take a look next at the Ironbound. And that is these guys. They are like automatons, sort of golem, metal golem guys. Guess we want to call them. Kind of cool. And again, really nice miniatures. Of course, Fantasy Flight Games always comes up with really nice miniatures. Alright, let's take a look at the Ironbound. They're an elite melee unit. They have armor 1. It says you may ignore 1 single sword die result produced each combat. So pretty tough to get through that iron armor. And they are an automaton. During your order step, you may spend a lore to order this unit as if it were in any section. If you do, this unit may move additional hex during your move step. So they normally just move 1, but they can move 2 when you use that ability. They roll 4 attack dice. They're really brutal. And there's, of course, 3 units in each squad. And just to clarify this automaton, if you get a card, you can't spend a lore and get these guys to move in addition to the other moves on the card. This is just instead of. It's not really clear here, but what it means is if you can order 3 units in the center and your Ironbound are on the left-hand side, you can then be able to spend a lore, do 2 units in the center and the Ironbound on the other ability, not all 3 in the center plus the Ironbound. Just to clarify that. Up next, we're going to take a look at the Grayhaven Battle Mages. And where do we have these guys? The Grayhaven Battle Mages are looking like mages casting a spell, hand out. once again, very cool miniatures. What do you expect from the Fantasy Flight? So really nice. If you're into painting, I don't bother, because my eyesight's not good enough to be doing detailed painting anymore, so I don't even try. All right, let's look at the Grayhaven Battle Mages. Their infantry caster ranged ability. They can move 2. The 3 attack dice, they have a range of 1 to 3, and 3 units in the squad. They have ruined shields when you roll the special symbol. Shield a friendly unit within 1 hex of this unit, and you can shield yourself. When a shield unit is attacked, remove the shield marker from that unit's hex and ignore 1 damage. So there you go. It's pretty cool that it can add shields. And Catalyst, which is really awesome. When you roll the lore symbol on the die, you can draw 1 card from the lore deck and gain 1 lore. Wow. So not only do you gain a lore, you get a lore card. So giving you much more ability to cast spells in the game. That's the Grayhaven Battle Mages. Up next is the huge unit that comes with the expansion, and that would be the Siege Golem. And this guy is massive. We can see it's a big rock golem with a trebuchet, or not a trebuchet, a ballista sort of arrow firing on the top of it. Has a huge range, has a lot of damage. Very cool miniature. We have that on the board. Let's take a look at the specifications for the Siege Golem. It's a legend ranged unit. Immovable 1, this unit may ignore 1 retreat each combat. So it just does not move when you try to make it retreat. It has Barrage, cause 1 damage to an enemy unit adjacent to the target unit if you roll a special symbol. And it's a Behemoth, I don't know how you say it, Behemoth. If this unit moves during your move step, it cannot perform an attack this turn. This unit ignores units when determining line of sight. So it basically just, it's so tall it fires over top of any other units, doesn't block line of sight. Terrain still blocks line of sight, but it only has 1 movement, or it can move or fire. It has 4 attack dice, a range of 2 to 6. So if something's 1 away from it, it cannot shoot at it. So range of 2 to 6, but 6 is a huge range, and it can see through other units, so it fires over top of them. And then it has 6 health. It's 1 unit with the 6 health points. And that is the units that come with the extra units that come with Hernfar Guardians. And we might as well look at the setup card for this playthrough for our Dakon units, and it is the Blind Moor Forest. So this is what we set up. So we have victory point markers on the 2 forest hexes. We have mountains up here, or hills, and we have a city. These are not water spaces. These are deployment hexes, the blue. There's no water on this map for this playthrough. This Blind Moor Forest says, during your order step, you may order units in forest hexes as if they are in any section. So that's kind of cool, and that's 4 sections anywhere on your side of the map or the other side of the map. And victory point step. Gain 1 victory point if friendly units occupy more hexes in the center section than enemy units. So you get a continuous victory point, each victory point step, if you have more units in the center, and the center includes both units that straddle the line are also considered in the center and on the flank that they're in. Okay, enough talking about them. That is the Dakon forces. Of course, they have all the regulars as well in the playthrough. The Ruin Golems, Riverwatch Riders, Yeoman Archers, and Citadel Guards. So we're going to be playing basically with all of the units that come in the base game plus the expansion. We're going to be doing the same thing with the Uthuk. So let's take a look at the Uthuk now. We're going to look at everything for Uthuk. We're going to look at their lore cards that we have and also their order cards. But the Dakon we're going to leave as a mystery, like I did in the other playthroughs. So we won't know which lore cards they have. Well, you won't know. Of course, I know because I'm playing both sides. And the command cards they have are going to be a mystery. So we're just going to see what happens there. All right, we're going to turn the camera off. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at the Dakon expansion forces. We're going to look at their setup card, and then we're going to look at their lore cards. We're going to look at their order cards, and then I think we're going to call it an episode, sort of a setup introduction. All right, we're going to come right back and do that. All right, taking a look at the expansion units that come with the Warband of Scorn. We have, first up, Berserkers, and they're these little double axe wielding maniacs. that charge into battle with no regard for their own safety, and they're all full of spiky armor. Again, very cool miniatures if you knew how to paint. I don't. Well, I do know how to paint, I just don't bother. Alright, so there we go. Those are the Berserkers. Let's take a look at their card and see what they have to say for themselves. This will focus. Alright. Berserkers are infantry melee. 1,000 cuts, so if they get a roll a special symbol, crown symbol, cause 1 damage to an enemy unit adjacent to this unit. So they're just so maniacally crazy. They they do damage to units adjacent to the attacking unit if you get the special die. And then we have deranged. Each time you perform a combat roll for this unit, you may re-roll 1 die. Well, they only have 2 combat dice, but you get to re-roll 1 of them. So that is a pretty good advantage. So they have 2 movement, 2 attack dice, and 4 units in a squad instead of the normal 3. So those are the Berserkers. Up next, let's take a look at the Grotesque. I'll have to grab one of those miniatures. We'll have a look at them. So they've got this great big demon-like spiky arm on them. Once again, very, very cool miniatures, full of spikes, and very, very neat. So these are the Grotesque. And let's take a look at all their stats and abilities and see what they have to say for themselves. They have Lacerate, which is a special roll a special die and they get Lacerate. Bleed the target unit. Bleeding units roll 1 fewer die during combat rolls. When a player orders a bleeding unit, he may spend 2 lore to remove the bleed marker from that unit's hex. So that's something new to the expansion. And they have Bone Blast. Instead of advancing, the unit may perform a ranged attack with an attack value of 3 and a range 1 of 2. So what's nice about this is if they attack somebody adjacent and make them retreat, while they're retreating, instead of advancing, these guys can then do a ranged attack, with an attack value of 3. So they're pretty deadly when they get up close and personal. They have 2 movement, 3 attack dice normally, and 3 units per squad. Alright, up next we're going to take a look at the Blood Sisters. So this is another expansion unit character, so I'm just going to focus. These are the Blood Sisters. They're, again, very spiky for Warband of Scorn, and very cool miniatures as well. They're not quite as big, they're kind of tiny, but again, lots of detail on them, and they're just demonic. Blood Sisters. Alright, let's take a look at their card, see what it has to say. They have the Siphon ability when they roll a special symbol on the die. So if the target unit has suffered 1 or more damage, recover 1 health. I believe that works the same way as the Flesh Rippers. They must have already been damaged before these guys hit them. I could double check that though. If the target unit has suffered, yeah, so has suffered. Same wording as Flesh Rippers. And then they have Blood Magic, so when they roll the lore symbol on the die, bleed a non-bleeding friendly unit within 2 hexes of this unit. So you can sacrifice 1 of your own units to cause 1 damage to the target unit. Bleeding units roll 1 fewer die during combat rolls. When a player orders a bleeding unit, they may spend 2 lore to remove the bleed marker from that unit's hex. So they basically siphon blood from their own units to do extra damage to the ones they're fighting. 2 movement, 3 attack. They have a range of 1 to 3, and they have 3 units per squad. Alright, that's Blood Sisters. And up last, we're going to be taking a look at the great big legendary beast that comes with the Warband of Scorn expansion, and that's this giant beetle, which, once again, very, very cool miniature. And this is another big guy, so very cool. Lots of spikes on all these guys, so very spiky brigade. Take a look at the Doombringer. It's a legend melee. It has the Devour ability, which is brutal. And you roll a special die, cause 1 damage. If the target unit is an infantry or cavalry, so it just causes extra ways to cause damage. As immobilized non-legend enemy units adjacent to this unit cannot move during your opponent's move step. So basically he locks you down if he gets next to you. He cannot move. And it has the Burrow ability. During your move step, this unit ignores movement restrictions of hexes it moves into. So it can move through cities, and it can move through under hills and across rivers and everything. Very cool. So it has 3 movement, 3 attack dice and 5 health, but this burrowing, immobilize, and devour ability is very powerful. And we're going to see what happens when we start playing with those guys. All right, up next we're going to take a look at their startup and their Crimson Roots. This is one of the expansion setups. So the other one was not. And it's a D3. So basically the Dakan will be going first. We, as playing the Uthuk, will be going second. And this is once per turn during your lore step, you may spend 1 lore to move a friendly unit 1 hex. So they're going to be able to jockey position with a lot of units by spending 1 lore, which is pretty cool. Victory point step, gain 1 victory point unless an enemy unit occupies either of the Bloodfield hexes. Those are new as well, outlined in red. If friendly units occupy both Bloodfield hexes outlined in red, you gain a lore. Bloodfield hexes, when you are on them, if you start your turn on a Bloodfield hex, you regain 1 health. So they're kind of like healing pads for the Uthuk. Very nice as well. All right, we're going to take a look at our order cards that we started with. So we basically, for setup, you draw 6, you keep 4. So I've kept Clash of Steel, which is order 3 units adjacent to enemy units. Enemy units cannot counter this turn. As you know, when you attack a unit, they usually get a counter attack, but this will allow us to order 3 units and there will be no counter attacks allowed. We also have Surround, order 2 units on the left, 2 units on the right. So that allows us to order 4 units. We have 3 units on the left we can order. And then we also have the BattleLore card, which is nice. You roll 4 dice and you apply these stats to the dice you roll. And then you shuffle this command deck with all the discarded ones, but not including this one. So very cool. Those are our 4 starting command cards. And I should say it's a 50-point game. We have deployed 48 points worth of units, which means we get to collect 2 lore for the start of our game. So we start off with 2 lore, which is pretty cool. And our 2 lore cards that we kept, of the 3 that we used to draw, 3 keep 2. So I've got kept Distraction. Play after you declare the target of an attack against an enemy unit that is adjacent to 2 or more friendly units. So it gives you kind of a buff to attacking. Add a die to the combat roll for each friendly unit adjacent to the target units. That's pretty cool too. Alright, that costs us 4 lore to do this. And the other one we kept is Bone Spurs, costing us 6 lore. Play during your opponent's attack step after he declares a target of a melee attack. For each double sword, single sword result produced during this attack, the attacking unit suffers a damage. The target unit ignores all damage from this attack. This is nasty as all can be. So that's our cards that we were able to play. And I should say each expansion comes with a brand new deck of lore cards, a brand new deck of 20 lore cards. I am using the expansion deck lore card decks, just so you know, and because they are more specific to the new units that come in the expansions. All right, I know it was just a lot of talking, a lot of explaining, and I should have mentioned right at the beginning of the video, if you just want to see the playthrough, you could have skipped all of this introductory stuff. And I'm not going to explain the rules, we'll explain them as we play. So for intro and setup episode, thanks for watching along. This is going to be BattleLore 2nd Edition. I'm going to be playing with all the expansion characters, so we'll get to see how they operate. And I think it's a first 1 to 16 victory points is the winner. But if the person that went second ties the victory point total, then they will win. So this is BattleLore 2nd Edition with all the expansions thrown in. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your subscriptions and your likes. Really appreciated it. And we will see you next time for turn 1. It's going to be the Dakan going first. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.